Dude, the Penguin. Like, when does Batman 2 come out? Tomorrow, hopefully?
Hello, and welcome to May the Review Be With You with Nick and Joe. I'm Joe.
And I'm Nick.
And today we are reviewing the finale of HBO Max's The Penguin. We've arrived at the end. We have been talking up this show all season long. Right from the beginning, we did another review halfway through because we couldn't wait to talk about it. And here we are again. Nick, I think my hype has remained at an all-time high from beginning of this show all the way to the end. Where are you right now?
100% agree. All-time high. The whole time. I'm still losing sleep over the last, 10 minutes of the episode. The whole episode was fantastic, which we'll get into. But, of course, season finale, there's some insane stuff that goes down at the end there. And I still can't believe it. That's where I'm at.
I'm just gonna call it right now. The Penguin gets the Emmy for everything. Just everything.
It's crazy. It's crazy because Agatha all along was so good, and Rings of Power had some insanely good episodes too. So I don't know if it's gonna get it for everything, but it's hard to say no either.
Everything, dude.
No.
Best lead actor, best lead actress, best screenplay, best makeup. Oh my god. Maybe it won't win for best music, although the music was pretty damn good.
It was.
You know what it was? You know what it is, Nick? We exist in such a weird timeline.
That's fair.
Where we had not one, but two superhero spin-off shows led by characters that have their fan base, sure, but aren't crazy popular. And then both were stupendous hits. How did that happen? How did we get to this timeline?
I don't know, but I want to stay here forever because the TV that's being pumped out right now is as good as it gets.
It's good as it
and
gets.
I think you have recency bias, sir. That's the only reason you think the Penguin is the one going for all the Emmys, which I can't disagree.
I still have yet to finish The Bear, so you might be right about that.
And listen, The Bear was...
I am thinking back on Shogun. Shogun is very, very good.
The Bear was good, but the ending was awesome. I think we're not going to talk about The Bear today, but not my favorite season of The Bear overall. But anyway, dude, the Penguin, when does Batman 2 come out? Tomorrow, hopefully?
That was my exact thought. Well, I had two thoughts toward the end of this show. I'll get into the first one later, but that was one of them. The moment it ended, I was like, God, I wish I could watch the Batman 2 right now.
That's my initial reaction. I don't have anything else immediate to say until we get into it, unless you have something else you want to discuss.
I do. And the first thing being, guys, if you enjoy this content, the way that you can help us out is, of course, by subscribing to our channel and by giving us a like. Hit that bell to keep up with all of our content here on May the Review Be With You. Now, let's go ahead and get into the finale discussion.
But we get this crazy flashback. It's conversations between Fran and Rex, Penguin's mom, of course. And yeah, what were your thoughts there on these flashback scenes here?
So my first thought is that Deirdre O'Connell, who plays Frances, definitely deserves the Emmy for Best Supporting Actress. I'm just gonna ride that train all the way in, man. She really is phenomenal. Throughout the show, she can be equal parts scary and heartbreaking, and certainly in the beginning of this episode within this Rex flashback, I think when we start this show, we see her as maybe the monster that formed Oz, right? But this flashback really recontextualizes her, and we see that she is just another victim, really, in creating Ozwald, right?
Yeah.
Or I guess a victim in the creation of Ozwald becoming the Penguin. And certainly, she plays her role in enabling him into becoming the monster that he will become. But there's this argument of nature versus nurture in this flashback that really speaks to how much of a monster he already was when he was born, far before he did what he did. And
Yeah,
I
great
just
point.
got to give it to O'Connell here. Just a phenomenal performance all the way through.
Yeah, this is a great point. Like, until that scene, our thoughts had been, it's her fault that he's this way. But really, there's a nature aspect to where he was born this way, a little bit different than everybody else,
Yeah.
and took it too far as a kid, and that is basically where the road splits, and you kind of take one path. Yeah, great nature versus nurture point. It's insane. Like an insane reveal right off the bat.
It is. Like, this whole time, like, I always thought of her, and I guess we were supposed to think of her as like a Lady Macbeth, and like, she's not. She's just one more victim in Oz's kill count. And honestly, she might have the worst fate of any character on the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. I mean, when you're just front row seat, she's had a front row seat the whole time, and now she's got a front row seat. And the worst part is she can't even speak now, right? She's just a vegetable and trapped in a prison
audience.
A prison on top of the city, just like he promised, basically, a brutal way for her character to essentially like finish out her story, because that's it for her, really. There's nothing else.
Presumably, she has nothing now.
Insane.
Just a really nice view. Oof. Big oof. But the reveal here that she was considering having Rex kill him, I thought that was a great reveal, especially since we got part of this flashback in the previous episode, right? From Ozwald's perspective. And it seemed like, he had gotten everything that he wanted, and really in the recontextualization of this scene, we're discovering that he was almost murdered that night, right? And she changes his mind considering Rex's words, and maybe like today's not the day that we kill him. Maybe we do it a different day, and she just never takes Rex up on his offer until it's far too late, and the dominoes fall, and so do the bodies. It's wild.
Yeah, totally insane. And the scene we get some great insight into how different the Penguin is too, right in his head, in this like family therapy interrogation session. And Sophia is trying to get Penguin to just tell his mother the truth out loud, even though she already knows. But Penguin doesn't seem to realize that she knows, but everyone else in the room knows that she knows that he's the one that killed the boys. Except for Penguin, thinking he like got it by her at some point there his whole life. And it's like, this scene's insane because how crazy Sophia is about like him telling her the truth. It seemed a little odd to me that she cared that much. I mean, she kind of related to the fact that, her father kept secrets or whatever. But
I think what the game that she's trying to play there is she's trying to make Oz go through this agony, right? And she knows that he loves his mom so much that he lied about her being dead to protect her, right? So she knows that this is like his weak spot, right? So if she can get Oz to confess to his mom, then his mom will, presumably have some sort of moment of disowning him, right? Or betraying him. And I think that's what she's banking on, right? To watch that relationship crumble in front of him. She's trying to destroy his world, like, mentally, right? Like, this is like in middle school, I always said, like, it was always better to fight with a guy than it was a girl, because, like, a guy might punch you in the face and, like, that'll be the end of the day, but a girl will ruin your entire life. She'll screw you up mentally. Like, never get into a fight with a girl.
And this is what Sophia's trying to do, is ruin his entire life. But I have there's something else that's really interesting, because Penguin won't break. He won't say it, right? He won't say it. And then it gets to a point where his mom comes out and says it for him. But there's a moment there where Sophia kind of turns to him and says, maybe you don't care about her as much as I thought. and like makes a kind of implies that there's something wrong with Penguin, like in his head. Like there's an extra step, right? Which we have discovered based on how he was growing up. And it kind of like, she says it kind of quickly, and then the scene changes a little bit. So we don't linger there for very long, but it's like a quick thing that kind of makes you think for a second. It's like, oh, wait, maybe does he not care as much as we think he does? You know, is there some more screws loose than we think? And that scene ends up being very important for what happens at the very end of the episode with Vic, which we don't have to get there yet. But I
don't want to go there.
It relates to it, to where like when that happens, I was like, whoa, wait, she kind of implied that maybe Penguin doesn't actually care about the people he thinks he cares about, or he says he cares about. And this is a very cool moment in that scene, in that family therapy scene, that really doesn't seem as important until later. Anyway.
It is. No, you're right. It's a good foreshadow.
Yeah.
Before we move on from the most messed up family therapy session of all time, I just really want to shout out here another Emmy push. Kristen Milioti looks like she's just having so much fun in this scene. Like right from the start with the baby bird story to the part where she's just trying to egg Oz to tell the truth by threatening the finger cut. Like she is having a blast in this scene. She's killing it. She's giving off the crazy murderous vibe. She's giving off the like disturbed, like, I can't believe you're gonna let me cut off your mom's finger vibes. Right. Like she's everywhere, and I love it. I love this character. I don't know if we'll ever see her again. I am glad that this character did not meet her end necessarily.
Yeah.
But damn, Kristen Milioti really like shot up on my radar from this show.
Yeah.
From going from just being the mother in How I Met Your Mother to I actually took time to learn her name because I love her talent so much.
Yeah, she's fantastic. And the outfit in that scene was great too. Like the costume design in this show is so good. Like just the red accent, you know, the red scarf or whatever that is, and then the bottom of her heels are just had the same color red, and that was it. Like really like villainous and badass and really cool.
That's a great call. She looked like an absolute comic book villain.
Absolute comic book villain. Yeah, for sure. That outfit, comic book villain all day. So good. And dude, I just remember too in this scene that like his Ozwald Cobb, Penguin's mom, stabs him at the end of this scene.
Oh my god,
I like totally forgot. Like she got so mad that she stabs him, which like I guess she hated him that much finally in that moment and admitted it, but also maybe it was like strategic so that they could get away. I don't know. She's so insane that I'm not sure which one makes more sense.
No, I think she just wanted to put him down.
Yeah, I agree.
She just wanted to end him.
She just wanted him to be dead.
Yeah. I think it's what's more like question marky is like so like where did that super strength come from where he just like ripped out?
Yeah.
Like don't get me wrong, like I know people are incapable of like crazy feats of strength under adrenaline, but like that was wild.
Yeah. The only thing I could think of was like it was only duct tape, and you know he was sitting in that chair for a while, so just it got a little loosey goosey, and eventually he was able to break free. We won't hang our hats too long there, but
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, does that make a lot of sense? Probably not, but it's like I don't care. The way the scene works, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's so good, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
How Sophia's arc ends. And with Oz escaping here and getting to the hospital, you know, taking care of his mom, taking care of his wound, and looking his wounds in more than one way, right? He's trying to reconsolidate some quick power, right? Cutting deals. Sophia turns to the Triad and talks to them, giving them the option of, if you get Ozwald for me, I will give you everything. I will give you the keys to the kingdom, right? And most of them, at least the heads buy it. Their lieutenants, on the other hand, do not. And that has a lot to do with Victor's speech at the beginning of the episode. Mm-hmm. And we'll come back to Victor. But Sophia, you know, in this sequence, we find out Oz has been captured by Lau, and she burns the house. We take a noticeable amount of time lingering on the watch that she bought for her father on his birthday right before she went to prison, or Arkham rather. She goes to the airport and she's betrayed. And then she goes for a drive with Oz before he sets her up and she gets arrested. I think this is a great sequence. I love everything about this. I love the callback to he's going to drive her to getting arrested again the second time. I just like everything about that felt very poetic. And I don't know about you, no matter how messed up Sophia is, I think I just always feel so bad for her. She just keeps getting the raw end of the deal, you know?
Yeah, well, in this case, though, it's her own fault. Like,
yeah. In this case, yes.
She can't let Penguin go, and she's completely blinded to what, and this is what Vic's speech is all about, too, right? Like, Penguin can relate to all of the lieutenants and all of the other people who aren't at the top of the food chain. And those people are all also sick and tired of people like Sophia in their own organizations. And so they all decide to pull together and help Penguin instead of another one of these like head guys or gals in Sophia. And so they all decide to help Penguin instead. And in the meantime, Penguin's also having a brilliant conversation with the councilman. And this is another scene where we get Penguin's like smarts, right? Like we see how really smart and resourceful he is, trying to find a way for him to come out on top here as well and be more connected. And this is, of course, getting the councilman to take the credit for Sophia, you know, capturing Sophia and all the destruction she's caused. So all these things like blend together, right? The Sophia, the Vic conversation with Penguin, Vic's conversation with the Triad, and this whole thing, and the Penguin's conversation with the councilman. And so really just like brilliant storytelling, having all of those parts come together at the very end. It was really fascinating.
It was. I really do, and I'm glad you pointed it out. I love that their conversation in the car all the way to, you know, where he holds her at gunpoint is without overstating it. It is, you know, that argument of classism that we've seen throughout the entire show between the two of them, that the two of them like are weirdly similar in how they approach solutions, right, to problems. And really, when it comes down to it, the reason why they could never, despite the fact that they have similar ambitions, that they have similar approaches, they could never work together because of their philosophical differences on where you started in life, right? They're both disgusted by each other, despite the fact that they are so similar.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
It's wild. It is. It is. They were perfect foils to each other, and it was really cool to watch. I think we have to talk about the part I don't want to talk about.
Why'd they do it to Vic? Why'd they do it to my boy?
you know, Nick, you know what's so rough about this?
I'm so mad. I'm so mad that it makes so much sense, but I'm still so mad about it.
So I think when we first reviewed episode 1, because we saw episode 1 of The Penguin and we couldn't wait to talk about it. And even in the midway point when we reviewed this show, we said this too. But we called it back all the way from the first episode that Victor was a doomed character. We were like, I don't know what's going to happen to Victor, but I know that this does not end well for him. He's definitely going to die at some point during this show, and I feel like it's going to be Ozwald's fault.
You know what this perfect analogy is between Penguin and Vic? Penguin is Dumbledore and Vic is Harry Potter. Penguin was just keeping him alive until the proper moment. Penguin needed him until he didn't need him anymore, and then he was like, goodbye forever. Basically, the same thing. It's the same thing.
You raised him like a lamb to the slaughter.
Exactly.
It was so hard. It was so much worse than I thought it was going to be.
So sad.
You know, I thought it was going to be like a moment where he had to like choose like Victor or his mom or something, or like Victor or power, and it wasn't that. It was so unnecessary.
Yeah. Like
Oh,
Vic, the whole reason he was even there at the end is because of the grooming that he did with Vic and bringing Vic up, and Vic stayed. Vic was like on a train, on a bus 4 episodes ago. He was like right there, and then he decided to come back and save Penguin, and then he saved Penguin. He saved Penguin like 3 times, like in the
yes.
4 episodes between him deciding not to get on a bus with this girl. And then he's like, you're my family now, Oz, or whatever. And the second he said that, fucking young Oswald Cobblepot took over.
Oh, you hear it in his voice too, right? Like as soon as he says "you're like family to me," you hear it in Colin Farrell's voice, where he's like, fuck, Vic," and like he doesn't say the next part, but you can almost hear him saying like, "Why'd you say that, Vic? Why'd you say that?" Like everything about his demeanor changes. You see the arm come across the shoulder, and you're like, no.
Any other word,
God, no.
any other word but family, you would have been fine. Dude, so gruesome too. Like, I mean, not gruesome. He just like choked him to death. Like,
But it's that betrayal that's gruesome,
yeah,
right? Like
so
it was
brutal,
when
man.
Vic was most vulnerable to him, right? Like he basically
Brutal.
said, "I love you."
Yeah.
Oh,
Just brutal.
God.
You know what pisses me off the most though? Like the next scene, I think it's almost the next scene. We get, well, I think actually we get in between. We get we get to see Penguin in his like, tuxedo, which was really cool. Finally, we got the top hat tuxedo Penguin.
The top hat.
Fantastic. But after that, all of a sudden, he's dancing with Eve,
Right.
and like, I was like, okay, well, you just killed Vic, so I mean, isn't Eve a loose end too? No, Eve's not a loose end. Eve can stay alive for some reason, even though Eve was like the one who also told Sophia where Penguin was originally earlier in the series. But no, Eve can stay. Eve doesn't have to die.
I think the reason why he keeps Eve alive is twofold. Like he needs someone to fill that mom role. That's even something that I think we talked about in the midway review of this. That Eve is, that they have told us that Eve is this person to him. I don't think that they necessarily did the greatest job in showing us that until the finale. Sure. But yeah, that I think that's why he needs her to be around. Plus, like he's paying her, right? Like to be around. And I think there is a degree of separation in his mind. Like he could sacrifice Eve for collateral damage, right? Like I could see that. Even though he tried to like take her with him, I don't think he's nearly as attached to Eve as he was Vic. Because I think with Vic, like he saw himself in Vic, right? He wanted to believe that Vic could be like a young Ozwald Cobblepot or Ozwald Cobb. Forgot he's not Cobblepot in this show. But I don't know. I mean, I hear you, and in defense of Vic, it is BS. Because if we're removing all weaknesses, Eve should have been the first to go.
All in defense of Vic. All in defense
of Vic. He was the goodest of boys. Bless him. And like truly, like shout out to Renzi Felice, who brought that character to life. Managed to really sell that stutter.
So good.
So good. Okay, no lie. One of his like coldest moments was when like Sophia was reaching for his gun or for her gun, and like he's already got a gun on her, and he's just like, "Drop it, give it to me." Like just like it was a simple line,
dude. His character arc was so awesome, and then they killed him. Yes. It's just like, man, it's just like the best character arc of the show, in my opinion. Vic.
I think I agree with you.
So
he was the funnest to watch.
Yeah, like he might have been my favorite character, actually. Even though, like, obviously, all of the performances are Emmy worthy, but there was something about his character that was so cool. And then they freaking killed him. I'm so pissed. I'm gonna rate this show so poorly because they killed Vic. Don't watch The Penguin. It sucks.
You know what? They deserve it. Rate them low. I love Vic. I mean, I'm not going to do that, but you should. Yeah, his speech to the gangsters, and it clearly touched some of them, right? Vic was just such a great character, and I love that we were able to use him in so many ways, right? As a way to show us what Oz values in life, right? We were able to explore the flood disaster through the eyes of Vic, right? Like we got to see like a whole different part of Gotham through Vic, and that was really cool.
Really cool.
And then of course we get to watch Vic grow into this gangster, right? Yeah, he was just such a pleasure to watch on this show. Definitely one of the highlights for me.
Facts.
100%.
Agreed.
I kind of brought us back. You were segueing us there into the true ending of this show, which, as you pointed out, it's Eve and Oswald in his full penguin motif dancing and telling Eve that there's nothing that can stand in his way now. And of course, this is just moments before he was looking out the balcony with his mom giving her the life that he promised her that she would always get. And probably the most effed up version of it. Facts. But then we get our little teaser at the end there of the bat signal. And it concludes with Penguin asking Eve to get the words of comfort that he could never and will never get from his mom, right? Just this really pathetic,
gross
desire.
It was gross
from this gruesome monster.
It was gross. That was gross.
It was gross.
Yeah, but
I think this show did an amazing job in taking this character and twisting him into the most vile and despicable way possible. Because you know what? I was cheering for Oz all the way through this show until he killed Vic.
Yep.
And now, just like the rest of Gotham, I hate.
Well, it's crazy. Like, this show is all about villains. We've had this discussion. It's a villain TV show. There's no heroes, right? Except there was something about Vic and even Penguin that was more hero-like in the villain sense, just because they were obviously like against Sophia. And then the second he kills Vic, I'm like, Vic was the hero the whole time, and now he's dead.
Facts.
But they really did. They really made you love him, and then for Penguin, they made us like really appreciate this villain. And then now at the very end, it's kind of like, well, now I hate you, Penguin, for killing Vic. But the reason I guess they did that to us is so we go into Batman 2 not liking the Penguin, because you can't go into a superhero film and like the bad guy. It's not allowed, apparently.
Not a bad point. Not a bad point. We can't be cheering for the Penguin.
We can't be cheering for the Penguin in Batman 2. We have to be cheering for Bruce Wayne and Batman.
I will say that segues really beautifully, and I will just be very brief about this, about my number one dislike about this show. Where in the world was Batman? Where in the world is Batman? Because like 99% of the show, I'm like, okay, like it's all staying pretty gangster. It's all staying pretty low level. Like, he can't be everywhere. I get. There was a huge explosion in Crown Point, right? This huge neighborhood, and Batman's nowhere to be seen.
Yeah, but you forget Batman's Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne doesn't care about,
Oh my God,
the Crown Point that's destroyed.
Oh my God, you're right. Oh no, Bruce!
Crown Point was destroyed. So,
Bruce, what are you doing?
So,
just another billionaire that does nothing for poor people.
Another billionaire.
As for the Penguin, we keep teasing the rating. I'm gonna go high. I'm gonna give it a 9.8 because Emmys, baby. Whoa. Emmys, baby. Let's go. 9.8.
Wow, man. Now I wish I remember what I gave Agatha.
But I think we both gave the same score. You gave it a 9.3.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I was thinking I gave it a 9.4. Yeah, honestly, damn, that show was really good. But I wanted to give like Penguin, and I was gonna say 9.6 for Penguin for me. Really awesome.
Give it all the Emmys. All the Emmys. Let's go, baby.
And what's next?
I think next time we're gonna have to do a what's on your list, which is a game that Nick and I play, in which we try to convince the other to put a show and or movie on their list that they haven't already been watching or turned on to. So that will be for next time. But if you're interested in keeping up with us, on whatever it is that we're currently watching. Nick, what's the best way they can do that?
Sure. Everyone, you can find us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button for us. Give us a like. Let us know in the comments what you think. And we're also on Threads at May the Review Be With You and Instagram at May the Review Be With You. And until next time,
May the review be with you.
Peace.